So for this tutorial, we are going to be making Wordle using JavaFX. Not the full amazing version of Wordle, but something just to give you an idea of how to go about doing it. So in order to do this, from this tutorial, I'm assuming that you have already set up JavaFX correctly, meaning you've installed IntelliJ IDEA Ultimate, what you see in front of me here. You've also installed Scene Builder. All right, I've provided documentation links on how to go through all these steps. It's not hard, but you have to do them first. Assuming you've done that, let's begin. We'll create a new project. And this will be a JavaFX project. I'm going to call it Wordle FX Demo. Okay, group, I'll just call it, you could just leave this as it is. So Wordle, JavaFX minimum, Java 11. You can do any of the other ones. Java 11 is fine. And we have all these other things here. I don't know how much of this will actually be useful, so I'm just going to take it all. It's fine. Okay, it starts up here, and we have our app, our Hello app, and let's give it a second to get going. And if we run it, okay, it's building the app here, and we get our cookie cutter app, and the cookie cutter app should be pretty simple. It says hello. If we click the hello button, welcome to JavaFX application. Okay, that's great, wonderful. We're going to do stuff a lot different in it. Right, so it pre-opened a couple things for me here. The one thing it pre-opened is our POM file, and this manages our dependencies. It's a part of Maven, okay, which this system is built upon. A lot of terms to know, I know, but it's there. If we need to add in other dependencies, it's there. The hello view.fxml. So this is the layout of whatever we're building in JavaFX. Okay, so this is the hello, there's the hello button. This is where it's all stored. We're going to go over here in just a second. This is the controller, and this controls the view. So we have, this is a way of thinking of it. This is the view, and this is the controller, and they interact. The controller controls the view. And we're going to learn more about how that works in a second. And then this is our kind of main. This develops the whole scene. So this sets the title of the thing. So I'm actually going to set the title to be Wordle FX. And I'm not really going to change it much apart from that. We'll see here in a second. So if I run it now, we will see that the title at the top here says Wordle FX. And let's kind of move over from here. So I'm going to go to start with the view, and we're going to design this a little. So if you look down here, you see the text view, and you see the scene builder view as well. And this is kind of, you can do it from here, but actually the best thing to do is you right click on this, and it says open scene builder, and you can open it up. And here we have kind of everything we need to build the scene. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this a bit. It's nice because it gets a little bigger. I'm going to make it longer. And we're keeping this button. Look at this button. The text on the button is hello. I'm going to change it. I'm going to change, this was going to be our check button. That when we get our Wordle in, we're going to check it. All right, you can kind of see how everything is made here. This is a vertical box, and so anything we put in it is going to be stacked on top of each other. So we have a label, which is empty right now. This is, you saw the demo, this is where that message appears. And then we have the check button. So they're like on top of each other. What we want to do is we want to have kind of regular Wordle style, the like 5-letter boxes available to us there. So we have this library of all all sorts of possible useful controls and this and that. And well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a label, and a label is just going to be, what is a label? It's just like text, a word, not a button, not an input thing. But actually, before I put the label in, I'm going to put a horizontal box, so an H box in here. So I select it, drag it in. Here you can see I can put it under, or I can put it in here. I can put it here, here. I'm going to put it here at the top. And you can see now it's been placed in here. And in it, I'm going to put our labels. Drag and drop the label in here. All right, I'm going to change this label around a bit. First of all, it's going to be empty, right? It's going to really just have one letter in it. Let's say for the time being it's A, just so we get a sense of the text size and everything. Realize I might want to make this even larger. Okay. So I'm going to come back. I can select it here as well. We have three kinds of properties here. We have the proper kind of tab in the inspector, right? We have the properties tab, the layout tab, and the code tab. So the properties show us what kind of font we're going to be using. I really want to make it probably 48. Yeah, that's big enough. Maybe even, yeah, let's go with that. We might want to make it a bit bigger too. And as we make it grow, you can see I'm going to make it, say we want 70 by 70. Okay, let's see here. If we scroll down a bit, maybe layout is where we're looking. Yeah, maybe. So here's the preferred width and size. So I can just type it in like this. If I want it to be 70 by 70, here now it's 70 by 70. I'd like the text inside to be centered. So I think that's more back here to properties. Center, alignment, center, beautiful. Okay. And then what else do I need? I guess text alignment, that doesn't seem to do anything really. Okay, as you can see, if I want to make it underlined, it's underlined, all this great stuff. Okay, so if we deselect it, it's just floating out there. I'd actually like to have a box around it. So let's see here. Maybe we can, we're looking for styles here. Was that under properties? That would be under properties as well. Oh, okay, so styles. The first thing I'd like is for there to be a border around this. So I'll type in border, and it'll say border color. I can just type in black. You can put in a word, or you can put in HTML there. Oh, okay, that's nice. Is that going to work? Okay, let's see if that single bit works. So I'm going to do Command S for save, and it saves it here. Okay, I'm going to go to this here. I'm going to run it. Oh, and you can see like everything we did is kind of updated here now. So that's pretty neat. I'm going to run it. All right, that's pretty neat. There we go. I mean, it's there, right? But it's still pretty small. And the reason, like, we made it much bigger. And there's one thing here, the controller. No, we have here that when it creates the scene, that box is like the scene, it actually specifies the size. So I'm just going to get rid of that. And if we run this again, maybe it will look the size we want it to look. Much better. Okay, so I'd like 5 letters across like this to be centered. So I'm going to go back here to the scene, and I've selected this one. If I do Command D, okay, if I do Command D, it will duplicate. D for duplicate. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and I can select all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I made 6. Okay, that's fine. I can delete 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so they're all off to one side here. So I'd have to H and then do center, right? Because I selected the horizontal box, and so it says, okay, how are the items inside of it aligned? They should all be centered. But then the individual items, I'd like to do a couple things with them. First of all, I don't want them to have any text in them. So that all disappears there. Beautiful. Another thing is their layout. I want little margins between them, so I'm going to put maybe 5. 5. Yeah, that looks good. Just like that. So already we're working up to be a little more wordly. And okay, so now what? Now I'd actually need to begin this process. So I need, oh, okay, I know what I need. I need a place to actually put in the word, right? The person's supposed to type in a word and guess it. So I need some kind of text field here. This looks great. I'm going to stick it in probably right there. Yeah, make it a little smaller. It's not moving. Okay, that's annoying, but I know why. Because if you go here, right, you can say the preferred size, and for some reason, oh, okay, the preferred size doesn't really want to change. And so we could say it says like maximum width and maximum height. So we should just use preferred size. There we go. All right. That's good enough for me. And let's just assume that people are going to be smart enough to figure out that this is where they put in their guess. All right, so right now I'm going to just make a one guess Wordle, right? Because if I could continue by making the full 5 rows or 6 rows, for this demo I'm just going to make the 1, okay? Just to make my point, show you what a proof of concept kind of thing. Okay, I think I have most everything here, but what we need to do now is assign these to the controllers. So remember we have these two. We have the controller and the view. So right now they're in the view, and in order for us to programmatically control it, it needs to be made aware of it, meaning the controller needs to have it in its sights. So you see this decorator, this @ decorator, and they put this, and it puts a label. That label is that welcome text, and you can even see the method here of welcome to JavaFX application, right? That's what we click when we click the button. Well, we don't want that to do that anymore, right? We could still use welcome text as like a place to say hello. We can just leave that. But what we want is to have some other things available to us. In other words, this field and then all of these, because anything we're going to manipulate needs to be changed. So this is where we get to this third tab, code. So the first thing to start off here is, well, I'm going to select this one here. And really the first thing you need to do is give it a name. Now there's a couple ways to do it. Check it out. So this will be the guess input. Okay, and if I press off, it gives me a warning message, no injectable field found, like this. Okay, well, thank you for that. What does that mean? It means this. I'm going to save this really quick. It means that if we go here to this and we find that input, it says, you know, here it is. It's given this ID. The only problem is that this ID doesn't, this doesn't link up to any variable here. So one thing you can do is after you've created it, you can hover over it like this and say, okay, create field guess, then it'll just come in here and pop it open for you like that. And it made by default public text field guess. Now, this is one way to do it. Notice this one's private. I like to hold and make it private. But if you make it private, you have to add this decorator in front of it, like this. Okay, and you have to add it in front of every one. You just can't assume this one and it's going to cover all of them. Right? It's kind of annoying, so maybe we're just better off doing public. All right, An alternative is you can just go here and make one like this. So right, we had this. Let's start here. Star fx ml, and we do private. And what do we? I would like to make the for these, right? So I could put them in here like that, but instead I could do what we did here, but I just want to show you the other way to do it. So we'll call this box, and I'm going to call this kind of box. Think of it as a 2D array, right? This is box row 0, because let's assume there'll be row 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the column, it's column 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to call this, it is a, what is this thing called? This is a, it's a label. Oh, okay, that's pretty simple. Just like this, label, call it box 0, 0, right? Because it's row 0, column 0. Okay. So that's good. Now, one thing I recommend right from the get-go actually is instantiating it. This is what I did. I was tinkering around with it. Okay, maybe this is in the constructor, right? So maybe we, in the constructor, we're better off just instantiating right from the get-go, right? And if you highlight it like this, you have to make a bunch of these. So we need at least 4 more. So if you highlight it into the next line and you do that Command D and duplicate it, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? That's annoying. And then we can just change it to, oops, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's relatively painless. Okay, now if we go here, oops, and we select it, we see that there are options here. So I'll just select each one, and I kind of like this better than dealing with the error message and all that, but to each his own. Okay, so I've connected these here and this one to the controller. Let me save. Okay, and now these are all linked together, so I can manipulate them. I can use them, and I have this on hello button. On hello button click. So when you hit the hello button, something will happen, right? Well, what happens? Well, let's think through this. The person is going to write something in the box, and then we're going to click, and at that point we want to grab whatever they wrote in the box and compare it to the word that the Wordle is based on, and then put each of those letters in here, and then of course color code them according to what it's supposed to be. So how could I go about doing this? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually rename this. I find this a little annoying, so I'm just going to go ahead and let's see here. Let's see if the refactoring rename actually works. And we're going to say it check guess. All right. And then do we want to set the text? I don't think that's really necessary. We can come back to that later. So I'm going to highlight this one out. I'm going to comment this one out for now. Okay, so as I said, the first thing we want to do when we check the guess is we want to pull the word out of the inbox. So this guess. So we'll call it, we want to save it as a string, and we'll say guess input dot get text. That's what you want to do, get text. Okay, and that will get whatever text is in there. So why don't we do it this way? Why don't we use this here and use this to debug to see if it works, and we're just going to put the guess in here. So when we click the guess, it's just going to make it appear as our message. okay? Oh, it's not going to work. I'll tell you why. I'm just going to stop it. I forgot something here. Oh, no, there it is. Check guess. I thought this wouldn't change over, but it did. I refactored it correctly, and it actually worked. Very neat. Very, very neat. Okay, let's go back here. Run this, actually. Okay, and if I say, what is it, funny? That was my kind of go-to word. Funny appears there. Okay, so this method works correctly. It, in fact, extracts the string from the field and updates it like that. Great. Mission accomplished. Let's celebrate. Nope, just kidding. A little too early for that. All right, I'm just going to keep that to the side there. We'll figure out what to do with that later. Now we want to compare to the actual word. Well, what is the actual word? We don't have an actual word, so let's go ahead and assign one. This is our class. So I see this is our class, so let's go ahead and assign a word. We don't need that word to be accessible to the what do you call it, to the view, so we can just make it a regular private. It's going to be a string. We're going to call it word, and I guess my go-to word is bunny. That's what I use in all my tutorials, all 2 of them. Now we're going to check this. Okay, so we're going to check through every letter and make sure that it's the right one. So int I is less than dot length plus plus. And now, if you remember, I did this last time as well. Just going to isolate that letter, and I'm going to say guess dot substring I comma I plus 1. Okay, that grabs the individual letter from within the guess, and now let's compare. Let's compare it. Letter, we'll say, yeah, letter dot equals word dot substring I plus 1, right? And at that point, we are comparing the same letters across the 2 different strings, right? Because they're both length 5, ideally, right? We could do some validation, and if someone types in a string longer than 5, it won't be accepted, but we're not going to do that in this tutorial. Maybe we'll do this in another tutorial some other time. All right. If letter equals this, then, well, then they got it. Great. So what do we do? Well, we should, I guess, update box, right? We should actually put that letter in box 0 in this case, right? Let's just try it with one box for now, right? Okay. So what do we do? How do we manipulate this box, right? Well, a good place to start thinking about it is just pressing dot and seeing what pup comes up, right? We're not probably going to not get anything. We have getter and setter. So if you do set, we have a bunch. Oh, there it is, set text. So we can set it to letter. That's one option, right? We just set it to the letter. That's pretty good. But what about the color, right? If it's the right color, we want it to be green. And if it's the wrong color, we could make it, I don't know, blue, yellow, maybe yellow, something like that, green. And then if it's the wrong letter, we'll do nothing. Okay, so how do I change the color? Let's see here. Set color. No, set background. Okay, but it wants a background object. Now, I'll be honest, I played around with this, and I'm not entirely sure how this works. I wrote in some stuff, it didn't work. So instead, I'm going to go here to good old Google And I'm going to do JavaFX set background color of text field. Ooh, perfect. How do you change? Okay, this is Stack Overflow. This is a tutorial. Let's try the tutorial. Yeah, Stack Overflow is good, but sometimes someone will just put together a nice tutorial. I'm really surprised people are putting this stuff together. Okay, so they want us to use CSS styling, which we're not too keen on, but let's go ahead and take a look at what they have here. Style equals this. So this is using it within, this is the XMFL file, this is the XMFL file, and then this is the controller. And I think this is better because we're going to want it to change on a certain event. So we can see here they do set style, so they have a text field here, right? That is a text field, and they use set style, and then they put in quotes this thing. So I'm going to copy this over, and I'm gonna look at this. So if you look at this formatting here, so it's all one string, and this is a styling thing where they put the kind of the key, the description, and then the value. Now this should look familiar, this little bit here, because we've seen something similar to it. And where we've seen it is over here in this, where we went to the properties, and we went to over here, properties, and we had the border color, right? Well, you know, it started -fx and it had that. So if we wanted the background color, that is kind of the tag we want to use. So I'm going to go ahead, grab that right there, come back here, and we don't want the inner color, we want the background color. And then this is an HTML tag. Let's go ahead, go to Google. I'm sorry, it's not an HTML tag, it's a hexadecimal tag, and it's going to say, if we just type it in, it's pink. We don't want it to be pink. We want it to be, if it's green is what we want. So this green, is this green enough? Maybe we can make it a little lighter green. Yeah, this is really nice of Google that you just like type it in. So this is the color. This is good enough, right? We copy that code and we can just paste it in there, and maybe it'll work. Maybe. Okay, so far we've set the letter. We've set this. Well, what other options do we have? So if the word's the same. So now we have to check else if, what if it is the letter isn't in the right place, but it appears in the word, right? So we would have to do a index of. So word.index of, I'll put letter is greater than -1. So if that's true, we want to do the same, but we want the color to be different. So I've already noticed I'd have to put the same line in here. So actually, this happens no matter what the case, right? We set the letter to be there. So I'm just going to pull this out and put it in here because we always do that. We're always going to set the letter to be there, okay? And then we are going to do what? We are going to set the color to be different. And instead of this color, we said blue, right? Bluey. Not too purpley, bluey. Not too dark. Good enough. Sorry, my aesthetics are not going to be the best here. Of course, I'm assuming this is right, but you know, we'll see. Probably is. I've done it before, right? And then, and that's nice. You can actually, whoa. I have seen these here. I didn't realize if you click on them, that's Really? And we can just, oh, and it changes. Look, if I move this around, it changes. No way. Awesome. Awesome. Love it. Good stuff. And then what else? Otherwise, we just put the letter and, well, nothing happens, right? We just put the letter. So we don't even need this else. Okay, and now we, what do we have to do? We assign the letter. Anything else? I don't know. Let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens here. Okay, let's play it. Okay, so if I say bunny, it puts the Y. Now, I know what you're thinking, but it's in the wrong place, right? What it does is it overrides it for each one. It always puts it. It doesn't move forward yet. I'm just doing a test if this works. So that works, and if I put bunny with an I, well, right, it's wrong. It doesn't go back. That's right. How about bunnin? Okay, well, that's a little too dark. Let's make it a little lighter. Right, and then the reason it's, yeah, if we replay it here. Bunny. Oh, so that's wrong for sure. Oh, I get it, because it keeps it keeps changing the colors. We have no way of getting it back. Okay, I think this problem will sort itself out in a second. So what I want it to do is I want it to not just do the first one, I want it to do all of them. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And how do I go about doing this? So the way I found is you can put them in an array. Now I tried putting them in an array up here, but it doesn't really work if you put it up here. But I found if you actually put it in the method, it does work. So I'm going to make an array of labels, and it's going to be called just row. And I'm going to put all these objects in it. So box 0, box 1, box 2, box 3, and box 4. We put them all in there. And now, let's see if you see where I'm going with this. Okay, give it a shot. Okay, if I say nulls, nice, nice. And if I say bunny, okay, but if I say nulls again, yeah, it doesn't recolor them. So maybe we should actually have it do a grayish color. I don't know what the default color is though. Maybe we should set a default color to be, well, that's simple enough. We just go in here and we'll set a default color. So scene builder, and we ask ourselves, what is the default color of it? Right, background color will be, maybe just make it white. That'll work. Actually, I want to do it in all of them. Make it all white. Ooh, actually, let's get rid of that. Okay. Yeah. See, if they're all the same, we can add them all at the same time. But if they're even a little different, okay, let's say they're white, and then I think you could actually just type in white as well here. So let's go back here, and let's copy this out, and we say white, and let's see if white works. Okay, and we're going to say, okay, that It doesn't really look white to me, but let's go for it. So funny. Oh, okay, well now it is more white, so cool, cool. And we'll say bunny, and we'll say nulls. Nice. Okay, so that kind of works. That's kind of basically it, right? Wow, that worked out pretty well. Let's see here. What else could we say or do about this? So one of the challenges I had was just making this thing work. And you can imagine if you wanted to expand it further, you would have to come up with a way that it would check. You would have to add a variable like what turn it's on, and that would be determine the row, and you would just have to declare all these arrays. You'd either have to figure out how to assign row to a certain value so that the contents of whatever the logic was doing down here would change accordingly. Another thing I mentioned is these words. You could have a long list of words and have it randomly select a word. You could connect it to an API, so some online source, and it would grab from the internet a random word. So you would just have no idea what word it could be. And I think that's probably the best way to go about doing this. I still see we left this welcome text unused. So, right, maybe you could put some kind of, hey, if you got it right, if you got this all right, you could put a message in. That would be some extra logic, right? You'd have to determine and probably write another method to determine if the person got them all. And if they did, great. And if they didn't, no big deal. But as you can see, everything is doable. Everything can be managed. It's just that you'd need to spend a little bit of time figuring all this out. I have mixed feelings about using JavaFX. On one hand, I am surprised how quickly I was able to develop this time around. Granted, I did spend the other day trying to make this work. This could take some time to get used to. Again, I put it out pretty easily here because I already played around with it. But there is a lot of triggers here, and everything you can modify programmatically. So, for example, if you wanted to make the 5 different rows here and make each row appear and disappear, well, the easiest way to do that is change the visible property, and now it's invisible. And so every time a new row appears, you make that row visible and then fill it in, right? So there's a lot to play with. There's a lot of potential here. I'm glad this exists, and I think this scene builder is kind of a game changer. It might be more visual and more accessible to some people than manually coding the components, but the limitation with JavaFX is that it's a desktop-only experience. So you put it together on your desktop, and you can only run it from a desktop. So pluses and minuses. I think that just make your choice. Doing it with IntelliJ circumvents. You don't have to worry about setting it up, right? IntelliJ Ultimate already comes with it already. It'll download it for you and get it all set up. So that's really nice. Anyway, I hope you found that tutorial useful. If you have any questions, of course, let me know.